Good? Okay.
ETA.
Good. Take a knee, please, sir.
Sir.
So this is our black belt ceremony. How many of you have never seen this ceremony? Is there anybody who hasn't? Okay, so yeah, the newest recommended black belts haven't been here for this before. This is modeled on the mastership ceremony. So when you become a master, there's a ceremony that happens in Little Rock or the weekend of World Championships. It's in a big stadium and it's live streamed, so thousands of people are watching it. But it's a 9-part ceremony. And we do most of that ceremony here, just modified a little bit for the fact that you're earning a black belt rather than becoming a master. And the 9 parts in the mastership ceremony are based on the 9 life skills of mastership, which are on this patch here. When you train to become a master, there's a year of training that involves working on all the forms and all the weapons forms, and you have to do a certain number of kicks a couple times a week, and push-ups. There's a whole physical training regimen, but there's also reading requirements, meditation, writing requirements, and the writing is about these life skills. So you have to write basically a book about these 9 life skills. And so the mastership ceremony is modeled around those. The 9th of the life skills is mastership, so we don't do that in this ceremony. But the first one is vision, and that's where the ceremony begins. And we begin by remembering the vision of Eternal Grandmaster H.U. Lee, who started the ATA. He came from Korea to the United States in 1962 and founded the ATA in 1969. And at that time, Taekwondo was a completely different curriculum. The forms and 1-steps that were used in Taekwondo throughout the world were different from what we do now. It wasn't until 1983 that he introduced Sangam Taekwondo. But he knew when he came to the United States where he wanted to take the martial art. He started out when he first arrived here with a napkin, and he drew a circle on it and said, "That's the U.S., and then he put dots all over it, so that's where I'm going to have all my schools. And when I met him for the first time in 1983, I went to headquarters. I went into his office, and he had a map up on his wall of the United States, and he had safety pins, or he had pins in the map where he had all the ATA schools. So he had gone from the napkin to the map on the wall, and those were all real schools. And then, of course, the ATA grew, and now there are schools throughout the world. So he had that vision when he started. And part of his vision was to provide a curriculum that would give students a clear path from white belt all the way to black belt and then beyond and on into mastership. And that's what the Sangam Taekwondo curriculum does. So now there's the 9 lower belt forms and the 9 black belt forms, and each one builds on the last one so that it's very easy to move from one step to the next and eventually reach the rank of black belt and then to continue training beyond that. And so in recognition of that vision, we sound the gong 9 times. Good luck. Real softly on the inside, it's like pulling away. Awesome. The next part of the ceremony is respect, and so this is where you bow. And this is a different bow from what you're used to. You go one knee and the other. And back up, you can do that 3 times. The next portion of the ceremony is knowledge, and this is where we use the water. So, Mr. Wright's got it here, right? Okay, so you can take that. And in the mastership ceremony, there's 3 bowls of water to represent different levels of knowledge, but we just use one in this ceremony. The cup that Mr. Clays is holding is empty, not because he has no knowledge, but because he has not yet gained the knowledge of the black belt. And this part of the ceremony is where we recognize that as a black belt, you still have more to learn, and you'll learn it from your instructors. And so to symbolize that, I will pour water into Mr. Clays' bowl, but you can first come and bow to each of the instructors up here. ceremony is humility, and this is where I have an oath to administer to you. So raise your right hand. And this is in recognition that no matter how skilled you are, there's always more to learn, there's always more that you can practice and achieve. So, Mr. Clays, do you promise that as a black belt student in Songnam Taekwondo, you will faithfully fulfill Eternal Grandmaster's vision by sacrificing yourself daily for the benefit of your students and juniors, by loyally demonstrating leadership in your school and your community, and by diligently training to improve your skill so that you can continually learn, grow, and accomplish your goals?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, Max, you can hit the lights. The next part of the ceremony is loyalty, and loyalty requires sacrifice. So we use the candle to symbolize that sacrifice, because the candle sacrifices its body in order to provide light. Just as a black belt has to make certain sacrifices in order to provide leadership to other students in the school. For those of you who haven't heard this story, you better this part of the ceremony comes from the fact that when Eternal Grandmaster moved to the United States, his instructor gave him a candle and a bar of soap, and it took him years, but he finally realized that he was going to have to make big sacrifices in order to teach Songnam Taekwondo throughout the world, just like the candle has to make the sacrifice of its body in order to provide light, and just like the soap sacrifices itself by just melting away in order to cleanse people. So now it's a place, just like you took the water, you can come up and bow to everyone. So. Lights on, and everyone can blow out your candles. So now what remains are nobility, honor, and gratitude. Nobility in traditional times was where you received a title, and the title that you'll be getting now is First Degree Black Belt decided. So I'll be giving you your belt. The honor portion of it is normally the presentation of the rank certificate, and that happens later. We won't do that here because we'll have to send our scores into ATA, and then Grandmaster will send the certificate, so I'll have that for you when we get back from the holidays. And the final part is gratitude, so after I tie your belt on, you get to make a speech. Did you get the email from me this week? Are you prepared to make a speech?
Yes.
Oh, you get to ad-lib. But this is where you get to talk about how it feels to be a black belt, what your journey has been getting here, and thank anybody you want to thank to once you get to this point. So come on up again.
Yes, sir.
Now, I don't know how many of you know this. Mr. Clays was an HTA student long ago. He and his wife, Nicole, both were HTA students a long time ago, and they had actually reached the rank of First Degree Black Belt recommended how long ago?
25 years ago.
25 years ago. So had they kept with it, this might be Master Clays' HTA martial arts. But they took a break, and they came back, and Mr. Clays decided he wanted to start from white belt again, and in the HCA, once you earn a rank, you have that rank. So the recommended black belt is a probationary one, so we would have started him at red belt if he had wanted to start at red belt. And he decided, after all that time, it made more sense to start at the beginning again. So he's worked his way back up through the ranks, and here he is now, surpassing where he was 25 years ago. The belt you're receiving has your name in English and your first degree bar, and then on the other side is a Korean phrase, and I allow students to choose that, and appropriately enough, Mr. Clays chose the phrase, "Don't give up." Congratulations, sir. Looks good. I'll hold the belt for you, and you get to talk now.
Like Master Shriver said, about 25 years ago, I started ATA in Las Vegas under David Berry. Since then, a lot has happened throughout my life that unfortunately took me in different directions. But, you know, like the phrase that I chose, never give up. Not only in Taekwondo and the goals that you have to progressing through the ATA, but in every aspect of your life, whether it's grades in school, college, certain careers, just never give up. You know, have I thought about taking a break from ATA? I think I had about 25 years of a break. So at this point, I want to continue. I finally got to where I wanted to get 25 years ago. Who knows will I be in the next 25? Perhaps it might be Master Clays' Go John. So, I want to thank all of you for helping me get to this point. Without you, watching you guys progress, it kept me motivated. A lot of you seeing you progress, and you know, the Blands and McGraths, you know, coming in together as color belts and progressing through it, it kept me motivated. I had to keep up with you guys. And to the staff, you know, being patient, being knowledgeable, helping us. I thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now let's bow out. Everybody stand up, please. And face the flags.
Sir!
Actually, Clay, why don't you bow us out?
Chariot, Kinye. Recite the first half of Song of Spirit of Taekwondo. Second half. Sija.
Sir, I shall lay the first